Brothers in racing. It's something that is quite common in the NASCAR scene, as throughout the years, plenty of siblings have tackled NASCAR's highest circuits with major success. One of the first dominant families were the Flocks and the Thomas brothers, where each family was able to score well over 40 victories between the siblings. The brother duo wasn't truly cemented until about 40 years later, when the Labontes were both able to win Cup Series championships and the Waltrips finally grabbed titles at the Daytona 500. But the ones who have perfected it have been the Busch brothers, who have 4 championships and over 250 victories in NASCAR's top 3 divisions. At this point, seeing siblings in the same racing series is quite common, as we see it to this day with the Sieg brothers in RSS Racing. However, seeing siblings racing in the sport of NASCAR doesn't necessarily mean that the family is destined to be a powerhouse, which leads to the sibling duo who has had one of the most bizarre histories in the racing world. Today, we are going to talk about Cody Ware and Carson Ware, both sons of the owner of Rick Ware Racing. It's time we go around in circles with the weird history of the Ware brothers. At this point, many NASCAR fans are familiar with the infamous team, Rick Ware Racing, a team that has been running Cup Series races under this banner since 2017. Although their performances have been subpar at best, they have accomplished some big feats that many never expected the small team to accomplish. One of the biggest ones being one of the 4 teams in 2021 that ran a 4-car operation. The only others being Hendrick Motorsports, Stewart-Haas Racing, and Joe Gibbs Racing. The team also runs in other motorsports, with a joint alliance in the IndyCar Series, NHRA Series, and the IMSA Series, just to name a few. To say that Rick Ware is a wealthy man would be an understatement. It's not 100% certain where Rick Ware gets all of his wealth from, but one thing is for certain, it has helped his sons to get rides in multiple series, the first one being his oldest son, Cody Ware. Cody Ware's upbringing into the sport of racing was not similar to most who run in NASCAR's top division. At a young age, he was participating in school activities such as wrestling and track and field, just to name a few. In fact, Cody Ware did not start racing till well into his teens, when he started running in the Legend Series and immediately fell in love with racing. From there on, he would run the IMSA events such as the Lamborghini Super Trofeo North America Series, as well as a few events in the Whelen Modified Series. Although he was late to start racing in his life, Cody found an act at racing by winning the Rookie of the Year honors in the Lamborghini Series, showing his skills at road course events, but the driver still needed more practice in oval events as his first couple of races ended with DNFs. Still, Cody was fully invested in running in stock car racing, and his dad was ready to back the then 18-year-old to pursue his dream. From 2014 through the 2016 season, Cody ran a sporadic amount of races in the Xfinity Series and Truck Series, most of them being under the RWR banner. He was getting a bit of experience running in multiple races, but the finishes still needed improvements, with only 2 top 20 finishes, one in Truck and one in Xfinity. Cody did try to make his Cup Series debut at Sonoma in 2016 with Premium Motorsports, but was the only driver not able to qualify. It was clear that Cody would eventually be ready to run in the higher series of NASCAR. However, it seemed like he wasn't quite ready. That didn't stop Rick Ware from promoting his son to run a part-time schedule with his brand new Cup Series team in 2017, driving the number 51 car. Rick was running co-deals with multiple teams prior, and now he was ready to run under his own banner in the NASCAR Cup Series. Obviously, Cody was excited for it. I mean, who wouldn't be? But the question was, would he truly be ready to run in NASCAR's highest division without causing any issues? At Atlanta Motor Speedway in 2017, Cody Ware would make his first official start in the Cup Series. He would actually be Rick Ware Racing's first ever start in the Cup Series since Timmy Hill failed to qualify for the 500 the week prior. The joy was short-lived, however, because the team went to the garage on lap 74 due to steering issues. In fact, none of the races that Cody ran in 2017, he was able to finish the race. Most of the time, it was due to mechanical issues, so Cody Ware really couldn't be blamed for most of the DNFs. Well, except for maybe the Southern 500, when contact was made between him and AJ Allmendinger.
Trouble up in turn 2. We've got a looper, and it's the number 47 in deep trouble.
On lap 155, the caution flew for an incident involving Matt DiBenedetto, AJ Allmendinger, and Cody Ware. It's hard to see on the replays, but it looked like Cody Ware drove into the corner too hard, taking out both the 32 and 47 machine. To add insult to injury, Ware was 11 laps down at the time, meaning that driving into the corner too hard was completely unnecessary. But then again, the rookie team struggled with mechanical problems all throughout the year, so maybe it wasn't the young driver's fault. Either way, the situation was a rough one, and it was probably best to move on from it. Unfortunately, that did not happen. That night after the race, a war on Twitter came out of nowhere between Cody Ware and social media. Cody was getting plagued with tweets being blamed for the incident, and was even told that the 47 team radio wanted the driver to quit racing altogether. It appeared that Cody Ware was extremely frustrated by all this. However, he pushed the blame on Allmendinger for the incident, stating, "Haven't wrecked a car all year long. Get taken out by a driver 30 laps down that had passed 5 times on track. Can't be smart for everyone." After seeing this tweet, Matt DiBenedetto, the other driver involved in the incident, immediately called out the driver of the 51 car, saying that it was Ware's fault and not AJ's. Cody at this point was fuming from all the heat. Instead of leaving the conversation at that or admitting defeat, he decided to respond with these 2 tweets. "At least I don't cheat on my wife. Everyone's golden boy, Matt D Racing, talking crap for no reason, but at least I can sleep at night and not banging other chicks when I'm married." This set off a PR nightmare for the part-timer, as many news sources latched onto the story. Cody Ware tweeted something that was highly uncalled for, and led to many people turning on the new driver in the sport. Cody responded by deactivating his Twitter account and said that he snapped and was not mature enough to deal with the sport's negativity. A statement that many agreed with the driver, who was clearly frustrated in himself. Cody finished his part-time schedule at New Hampshire a few weeks later with a last place finish in the race with another DNF, ending his season with 5 DNFs and an average finish of 38th. Not the way the North Carolina native wanted to see his Cup Series debut season. After the 2017 season, Cody Ware decided to make the move towards different avenues of racing. It was only seen a sporadic amount of times for the next 3 years. Despite struggling in his first few years in NASCAR, Cody was performing well in other forms of racing between 2018 through 2020. It turns out, during this time, we learned a lot more about Cody Ware than previously, as he started to open up on why he had such a short temper after the race at Darlington. Unfortunately, the driver had a long time of trauma and mental setbacks that have affected him as a person. In May of 2018, Cody Ware lifted off the blinders for many questioning his professionalism by telling everyone the truth on what he was suffering. The driver was diagnosed with Asperger's at a young age and has had a long history of suffering depression and anxiety, an illness that was created due to a dramatic experience that the North Carolina native suffered in his early teens. During this time, Cody Ware was around a crowd that was questionable, to say the least. One day, while out in the woods, Cody Ware and his so-called friends had a disagreement on something, which led to the group dousing the driver in gasoline and lighting him on fire, scorching the legs and leaving Cody Ware unable to move or sit for many months. This made the future driver go down a long path of extreme insecurity, self-consciousness, and utter anger. Although he was taking medication and therapy for his depression and anxiety, there were times where he would lose control. Case in point, the incident at Darlington, which even led to Cody getting kicked out of his apartment by his then roommates. Cody described it as his lowest point in his racing career, and understood that it would be a long time to rebuild back that trust from all that were involved in the sport. Personally, this resonated with me a bunch, due to the fact that I suffer from moderate depression and anxiety. And for all wondering, don't worry, I couldn't be happier thanks to the support, medication, and therapy that I've had throughout the years. But depression and anxiety is a real thing, and the steps to take in order to overcome it are extremely important. With that being said, I can understand how someone like that could lead to that severe of a blowup on social media. We are all human and life can get the best of us sometimes. Be that as it may, it doesn't excuse his actions. However, it seemed like between 2018 through 2020, Cody Ware was doing a lot of maturing and positive work on his mental health. This helped him return to the sport of NASCAR on a full-time basis with his father Rick Ware. But there was one more person to bring onto the team as well. During the time Cody was rebuilding his career in racing, his younger brother Carson Ware was starting his career in NASCAR. Carson Ware's introduction into racing was similar to most trying to make it into the big leagues, with experience in the Bandoleros, Legends, and the Carolina Pro Late Model Series. Although he has had his success, racing hasn't been truly the main focus for the driver from Jamestown, North Carolina, as Carson Ware's primary focus has been music. And although he does have potential with his music, our primary focus will stay on his NASCAR career. Carson, like his brother, received opportunities to run in the truck and Xfinity series thanks to his father's connections. In 2020, Carson's first start in the Xfinity series came at Bristol Motor Speedway, driving for SS Greenlight Racing. The finish was outside the top 20, which doesn't sound too great, but for Greenlight Racing, this was about average. The driver returned with the team a couple weeks later at Homestead, then at Pocono. Carson was able to score a top 20 finish in the latter race. Perhaps he was never focused on running full-time in NASCAR, but after a couple acceptable finishes along with financial backing, it seemed like Carson Ware was going to be able to run a limited schedule in the Xfinity series. It wouldn't be too long later that Cody Ware was seen running in NASCAR again after winning the Asian Le Mans LMP2 AM Championship. Not only that, but Rick Ware Racing made the announcement that Cody Ware was going to be running full-time in his then 4-car operation in 2021. It seemed like 2021 was going to be the year where both the Ware brothers were going to live their dream in racing. Well, it didn't quite go that way. To say that 2021 was a rough season for Cody Ware would be an understatement for a variety of reasons. In the spring Martinsville race, Cody Ware and his teammate James Davison were involved in an early incident in the race. If that wasn't bad enough, Ware's radio showed that his anger was getting the best of him again, and that he was threatening to be parked if he retaliated against his teammate. Luckily he didn't, but it was clear that the anger was still there for the driver. During the summer stretch, Cody continued to struggle in races, as throughout the regular season, the North Carolina driver did not finish one time in the top 20. If that wasn't bad enough, Cody suffered carbon monoxide poisoning in the first playoff race at Darlington, leading to the driver missing the following 2 races. In the end, Ware finished the season in 34th in the owner's standings, with an average finish of 31.1 with 7 DNFs. Truly a rough year for Cody Ware's return. But I mean, Carson's season couldn't possibly be even worse.
Into our newsroom, NASCAR Xfinity driver Carson Ware has been suspended from the sport after he was arrested in Rowan County. He is facing multiple assault charges along with an injury to personal property charge. According to NBC Sports, another driver will take his place for the race this weekend in Kansas.
On October 20th, 2021, Carson Ware was arrested with charges of assault on a female and injury to personal property. Carson had been staying with a co-worker at Rick Ware Racing along with their wife at the time of his arrest. A release states that deputies were dispatched at 2:30 a.m. Eastern Time on a Wednesday. As they approached the front door, they could hear loud banging from inside the residence. Looking through the glass by the front door, they observed broken glass and clothes scattered across the floor. Carson later peeked out the window and was asked to step outside. Deputies reported that Ware had blood on his face and a swollen lip. Inside the house were several broken paintings, the bedroom door frame busted, and 2 flat-screen TVs that were broken. To make things worse, Carson was very intoxicated, belligerent, and wound up slapping the co-worker's wife in the face and shoved her before the co-worker came to her defense. Carson was then arrested, and NASCAR immediately suspended him indefinitely and SS Greenlight Racing fired the driver for the incident. This left a sour taste in everyone's mouth, as it was now the second Ware son to have an issue with their anger while in the spotlight. As quickly as this driver came onto the scene, Carson Ware was immediately ostracized from the NASCAR world, and many were now wondering what in the world was going on in the Ware's household. Rick Ware was frustrated by this whole incident and apologized to Bobby Daughter, the owner of SS Greenlight Racing. It was at this point all eyes were on Cody Ware to see if he would not overcome the odds, but rather crack under the pressure. The following year would be best described as a roller coaster for Cody Ware, as he saw the highs racing had to offer with the lows. Some of the highs included 5 top 20 finishes, 2 at Crown Jewel events, and 1 being a 6th place finish at the Coke Zero 400. On the other hand, Ware only finished 32nd in the point standings, along with missing the Charlotte Roval due to a violent crash at Texas that led to an impaction fracture on his ankle from the crash. Ware still had sponsorship backing behind him, along with a full-time ride. However, pressure was still mounting on him to perform well, as Rick Ware Racing decided to join alliances with RFK Racing in the 2023 season, meaning that it was going to be a make or break for Cody Ware in the number 51 car. At first, everything seemed to be improving with a 14th place finish at the Daytona 500, along with improved finishes at some of the tracks at the beginning of the season. However, that all changed in the 8th race in the 2023 season. During the race weekend at Bristol Motor Speedway on April 8th, it was reported that Cody Ware was not participating in the event due to personal reasons, a statement that was too broad to make any assumptions on what was going on. At this time, Cody Ware and I developed an acquaintanceship, so I was concerned about what that exactly meant. When it was announced why he missed the race, the racing world was shocked at the reason. On April 10th, 2023, Cody Ware was arrested for felony assault by strangulation on his then girlfriend. Warrants for his arrest claimed that Cody pushed his girlfriend to the floor, slapped her in the face, wrapped his hands around her neck, threw a phone at her, and threatened to kill her. The warrant stated that she had redness and soreness around her neck and a broken right hand. He was indefinitely suspended by NASCAR after he was charged. The news left everyone, including myself, in shock. A driver who was reportedly making improvements on his mental health melted down once again, this time being physical with someone he truly cared about at one point. Within 2 years, the Ware brothers were both suspended by NASCAR due to arrests that were violent against a woman. The fallout from both these incidents were major setbacks for both drivers, as neither of them were able to compete in the sport for well over a year. Carson Ware was eventually reinstated in 2022, but never got the chance to race in the Xfinity Series until August of this year. As for Cody Ware, the charges against him were dropped in December of 2023, as prosecutors couldn't proceed without their testimony. Apparently, there was a similar charge on Cody Ware's now ex-girlfriend a few months prior to the incident for simple assault. Turns out she was no saint in this whole ordeal. However, everything at this point is solely speculated, as all cases from both sides were dismissed. Now he runs a part-time schedule in the number 15 car for Rick Ware Racing. Regardless, both brothers have shown that the limelight in racing has been too much for both drivers, so perhaps a full-time ride is out of the question for both as of now. But then again, it's Rick Ware's decision, and if he feels like having them run full-time in NASCAR again, that's on him. For me, having my own little squabble with Rick Ware Racing, only to make amends with them, and then separate myself after these said incidents, I'm kinda torn by the whole ordeal. I cannot imagine the stress that these drivers go through on a regular basis, and who knows what was true and what was false allegations. With that said, Cody has shown his anger in the past, and although I see the amazing person that he can truly be, he has to control his emotions if he ever wants to win people over. For now, both drivers have come back to the sport, so it will be interesting to see what the next chapter is for these two brothers. However, if something does spawn up from them again, then they will be continually known as the brothers of their own destruction in the world of racing.